All right, so this is a suggestion via a channel member. The name of the video is Pete Buttigieg. That's his real name? I don't know. Listen, weighs in on Harris's defiant debut in her first Fox interview. Guys, I don't understand why she went there. Like, you do understand, Kamala Harris and your team, that these individuals have already made up their mind and there's really nothing you can do to sway their opinion. It's basically like Fox going on CNN. I mean, not Fox, like Trump going on CNN, right? What are you really expecting to get from this? I mean, I get it. We're 50-50 right now, right? You're trying to figure out, which way the wind's going to blow for the most part. But honestly, at this point, it's just going to come down to kind of 4 overall topics. You want to fix the southern border, basically immigration. Are things currently too expensive? The economy, right? Or deleting babies and the overall belief in masculinity being toxic. So you have all these. You have these other camps. Okay, these are the camps. Pick one. All right, that's it. That's where we are right now, because the ones who are basically trying to decide or trying to basically end up deciding that type of topic or talking point, basically. But either way, let's go ahead and jump into this video immediately. Let's see what this takes us, guys.
Vice President Kamala Harris went where she has never gone before, and frankly, where no Democratic nominee has gone in quite some time, on Fox. The vice president campaigning for those few persuadable conservative voters in an interview that was contentious right from the jump. Fox's Brett Baier questioned the vice president on everything from immigration to trans rights to how she'd be different than President Biden. She was interrupted several times as she was answering those questions, and there were tense exchanges throughout this entire interview. But it was this moment, maybe, when she was asked about Trump supporters that things got incredibly heated.
Why, if he's as bad as you say, that half of this country is now supporting this person who could be the 47th president of the United States? Why is that happening?
This is an election for president of the United States. It's not supposed to be easy.
I know, but
it's not supposed to be. It is not supposed to be a cakewalk for anyone.
So are they misguided, the 50%?
Listen,
are they stupid? What
God,
is it?
I would never say that about the American people. And
that was some crazy bait, though. That was.
In fact, if you listen to Donald Trump, if you watch any of his rallies, he's the one who tends to demean and belittle and diminish the American people. He's the one who talks about an enemy within, an enemy within, talking about the American people, suggesting he would turn the American military on the American people.
We asked that question to the former president today. Harris Faulkner had a town hall, and this is how he responded.
I heard about that. They were saying I was like threatening. I'm not threatening anybody. They're the ones doing the threatening. They do phony investigations. I've been investigated more than Alphonse Capone. He was the greatest gangster. No, it's true. But think of it.
Guys, when he said that, right, I was kind of shocked. I was appalled, actually. Al Capone? Nah, bro, Al Capone sat in jail. In no way were you the most looked at person in the history of the world, I think you kind of said or alluded to. In no way is that true. It's just not a true statement, bro. And if you're specifically comparing yourself to Al Capone sat in jail. He didn't.
It's called weaponization of government. It's a terrible thing.
So,
Brett, I'm sorry, and with all due respect, that clip was not what he has been saying about the enemy within that he has repeated when he's speaking about the American people. That's not what you just showed.
Well, he was asked about that specific...
No, that's not what you just showed. In all fairness and respect to you.
That was the question that we asked him.
You didn't show that, and here's the bottom line. He has repeated it many...
That like slight smile is very intriguing that he just did. Like, this interview didn't go well, guys. It didn't. It didn't look... It wasn't a good look, guys. But either way.
Times, and you and I both know that. And you and I both know that he has talked about turning the American military on the American people. He has talked about going after people who are engaged in peaceful protest. He has talked about locking people up because they disagree with him. This is a democracy. And in a democracy,
is it?
The President of the United States, in the United States of America,
is it a democracy?
Should be willing to be able to handle criticism without saying he'd lock people up for doing it.
I want you to see for yourself regarding what Harris is saying there about the clip that they played of Trump. Fox chose to air only Trump's defense of his threats to use the military against United States citizens. But this is what Trump actually originally had to say.
I think the bigger problem are the people from within. We have some very bad people. We have some sick people, radical left lunatics. And I think they're and it should be very easily handled by, if necessary, by National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military.
What happened? See, you guys don't send me clips like these. Guys, bro, what? Listen, when it comes down to ideology, listen, I'm trying to figure out what exactly the left has for men, right? Like straight men in America. I'm trying to figure that out. I don't really grasp it. But stopping their speech is crazy. Right? You don't have to specifically agree with every single thing that's being said, but they have the right to say it as Americans, right? They have the right to do whatever they want to do in life as long as it is within the bounds of the Constitution and is legal, right? Listen, I hear people say all types of crazy things all day long, right? I had a meeting with one of my family members and their wife, right? And I'm just sitting here listening to this person talking, and I'm just like, bro, I don't agree with none of what you're saying. You're trying to convince me that it is okay to do all types of crazy things, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. All right. I don't know. That's a little weird, but do your thing. I'm not going to stop you from it. We had a great dinner. It was not even an issue going forward, right? We need to get back to that point where things are literally less hateful. Bro, this is just about ideologies, guys. It's not that serious. The National Guard, crazy. Against the American population, that's crazy, bro. That's wild. That's wild to say. Maybe the U.S. The military. That's also wild and crazy. Okay, but I'm not going to sit here and say that I have any interest really in what Kamala Harris has to offer. I don't. I have zero interest in none of the things that she represents, talks about loudly, or basically cares about. Right? I don't want my taxes raised. No, thank you.
My lead source tonight is Pete Buttigieg, here, I should note, in his personal capacity as a surrogate for the Harris campaign. Thank you so much for being here. You introduced yourself at the Democratic National Convention by saying, I'm Pete Buttigieg. You might recognize me from Fox.
Buttigieg. Booty Judge. It's a great job.
Fox News. You're a frequent guest on that network. What were your thoughts on this interview tonight?
Well, it was really impressive on her part. She was tough, smart, focused, disciplined, the same qualities that made her a very effective prosecutor, and I think are going to make her a very effective president. And she did it in territory that's obviously not ideologically friendly. I think she'd have many reasons to think twice about whether she was going to get fair treatment on Fox News. But even as they were interrupting her, preventing her from speaking, she got her point across, and she called out things like that moment, that exchange that we just saw, where they attempted to sidestep the shocking fact of someone wanting to be president, calling Americans the enemy from within. And I think it's especially appropriate, actually, for her to do that on Fox, because, when I think about conservatives, Republicans that I know, one of the things that's that I'm most sympathetic to about what sincere conservatives care about is a passion for liberty and a real concern about making sure that liberty is protected. Now, I disagree.
Guys, that's all that matters. I don't care what this man is saying, right? But the most important thing, literally, is to not take anything listen, bro, it is completely fine under the Constitution. I don't care what you're saying. I don't care. If I don't like what you're saying or what you represent, I'm going to keep walking this way, bro. You're American, right? I am definitely a constitutional absolutist here. Either way,
a lot of Republican friends who think that,
also his mannerism is interesting.
Making sure that liberty is protected. Now, I disagree with a lot of Republican friends who think that, that goes so far that, enforcing the Clean Water Act isn't something we should do because it just might impinge on liberty. But these are the exact folks who need to be reminded about the implications for a freedom-loving country if the next president of the United States is somebody who has more than flirted with, talked about turning the military on American citizens who he disagrees with politically. And I think there are a lot of folks at home, maybe conservative Republicans or independents who lean right, who are thinking to themselves, if you've got a friend or a coworker or a daughter who is more politically to the left than you are, is she going to be safe in a country where the president of the United States calls her the enemy?
Can my daughter vote? Okay. If she can vote, she can use her vote to vote for whatever she desires. Again, do not give your vote away to people, bro. I'm sorry. If it does not directly affect me, I'm not voting for it. I'm not. That's just not a thing. Okay. And it seems like this is more groupthink coming from this individual here, right? I don't like groupthink. Meritocracy is my utopia, right? I'll say a solid mix of like 75% meritocracy and maybe 25% egalitarianism. I'll give you that, right? 25%. I think that's the way to go, bro. All right. Work as hard as you possibly can, and you get what you basically get what you deserve, right? Work as hard as you possibly can, and you will be rewarded for working as hard as you possibly can. Okay. But I hear what you're saying, bro. Right. No.
Well, I mean, in that interview, as she was making that argument about what Trump has said about the military, the National Guard, and using it against U.S. citizens, I mean, when you see that moment there and how she responded about the clip that was played, she's been in politics for a long time, but given that you have such experience with going on Fox, I mean, did you give her any advice about this interview beforehand?
I wasn't involved in her interview prep. What I will say is that, one principle I try to remember that I thought she demonstrated is making sure not to allow them to kind of change the subject or the framing of the question at hand, right? The whole topic there was the fact that a candidate for president and a former U.S. president described the American people, the ones he disagreed with, as the enemy. And it's really important not to allow some sidestepping of that. So, she did that. She also made sure to continue to get her point across, even when she was being repeatedly interrupted. As somebody who has a lot of batting practice myself on that network, really proud of how she represented her views, her values, and this ticket in front of a conservative audience. Something I might add, by the way, that is a show of strength. That is
no show of strength. Here's the thing, but she did handle herself, right? I mean, I think she did represent what's important to her absolutely very well, in front of Brett Baer, guys. I think so. Absolutely. She did. But that doesn't take away from the fact that none of it matters to me. But I'm glad that she did, right, in fact, do it.
Exact opposite of the weakness that Donald Trump has demonstrated by pulling out of going even on CNBC, which is hardly a liberal bastion, or 60 Minutes, where it's customary for both candidates to go on. He's not prepared to go in front of a skeptical, let alone unfriendly audience. She demonstrated the opposite. And remember, this is in keeping with her continued outreach to conservatives. Look at the difference between her making clear that she would include Republicans in her cabinet, campaigning with so many Republicans, principal Republicans, who are for her, versus him referring to Democrats as the enemy.
Okay. But now here's the thing. Coming from the position of the left, obviously the left itself is incredibly more inclusive to basically everything on the surface, I think optically at least, right? Versus the right, it doesn't appear to be that so freely, right? But I don't think that's the point for me, guys. Yeah, listen, I mean, I get it. He said some crazy. That is craziness, all right? I don't think anyone that actually loves the country would back that type of statement. I don't think that that's a thing. Guys, it can't, that's not a thing. You just don't say things like that. The military is not to function on U.S. soil, guys. I'm sorry. That's not a thing. Now, the National Guard, can it be mobilized? Absolutely. But should it be mobilized specifically to halt some type of, I don't know, Americans speaking loudly? No. Just as long as you don't stand in the highway, because I'm not stopping, bro. Sorry, we're not doing that. That's not going to happen. Don't block my freedom of movement, because then again, you are absolutely doing some type of constitutional, related act, let's say, right? But what do you mean, right? Like, I mean, you're not blocking my freedom of movement. We're not doing that. But if you want to stand on the sidewalk and scream from the roofs or whatever it is, guys, right, about your cause, and you can pull people into your cause, I want you to do that, bro. Right? I absolutely want you to do that. But I can't say personally that Kamala Harris has said anything that has the ability to sway me, like at all, because again, I'm the target of her economic plan. I can't imagine my wife deleting any of my children, so that'll be crazy. Pass. I can't think of, I'm trying to think of like one thing that I care about, bro. I shoot guns all the time. I own a lot of them. I'm just trying to think of like the things that she says that are like, that would have the ability to make my life better. I don't know. Maybe guys, let me know in the comments. I mean, help me out. Maybe I'm reading something wrong. Okay. I'm generally an open book here, guys. Right? Sometimes it's way too open. I understand that. Right. But if there's something I'm missing, I have no problem researching something and just to verify that something does have the ability to affect my life specifically. Right? Because again, I do not lend my vote to a single person or idea or thought. I will not lend it for something that does not affect me specifically. My wife has her own situation, right? And everyone else and anyone else that I know, my family members, they all have their own votes. Yes. But maybe that's just how I was raised, guys. We just don't sit here and have these conversations like that. We can't, right? It doesn't matter if anyone else that is around me, at least, has a different ideology. We can all have the greatest time in the world. What does that mean? You are American. Enjoy your Americanness, bro. Enjoy it immediately. But all right, listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly. Guys, before we go, are you guys subscribed to the other channels? Logical Movie Reviews with Mr. L. Boyd, along with Mr. L. Boyd Music. Both are found in the description. Check it out.